Thank you for tuning in to Koppen with Comic. I'm Brian Koppen, and we're here with comic Zach Lennon-Simon. Zach Lennon-Simon, how the hell are you?
I'm doing great.
Oh, good. And did I get the name right? Zach Lennon-Simon.
You did.
Is there other Zach Simons out there, or just like you wanted to go with the full name because you're the guy to make it? I mean, this name's going to be super famous someday.
It was not my decision. My parents are I don't know, indecisive or feminist or somewhere in between.
Okay.
It's a hyphenated. My mom's the Lennon, my dad's the Simon. So
good.
I'm both, and I'm the ire of every person who introduces me.
Yeah, I just had to get it right because they want to find you online and on stage in New York City. Where can they find you?
They can find me at QED the fourth Thursday of every month. I
good.
co-host a show with Jonathan Appel.
And what's the show called?
It's called Very Nice People Saying Very Nice Things.
Yeah, I saw that. What's the concept of that?
The concept was Jonathan and I went to a lot of bad variety shows where they was just filled with, the people you meet in comedy where you're like, oh, I feel gross. I feel gross talking to you and remembering you. So we were like, it can't be that hard to just create like a nice space. Like the world sucks. Everything mostly is bad.
Right.
Why not just do like an hour of just pure joy and weirdness?
And does the grossness, is it a kind versus not kind? Because it's called what? Very, very...
Very nice people saying very nice things.
Yeah, so, you running into gross people in comedy, it wasn't necessarily... Was it them being less than nice? Or was it just them being kind of, their material being a little skeevy?
Their material was skeevy. I think they also, in general, probably a combo move of them not being very nice and kind of that weird, like, cutthroat of like, well, you can't succeed because I need to succeed. And you're like, dude, the market is wide open for everyone.
And so you were like, I want people who are joyous and they're selling pure joy on stage.
Yeah.
Okay. And so you book that show and you book with those people in mind.
Yeah, and it is... the hardest part is just like finding room for everyone because we're like there are so many great people out there that we want to book on the show.
You found how big comedy was when you started booking the show. You're like, man, there's more joyful people than I thought.
Exactly. And it probably without this show and without Jonathan telling me we should do the show, I would have quit comedy a long time. I just had so many bummer gigs where like beforehand it'd be like 5 guys in a room, and they're all telling me like, oh, like homophobic slurs are the thing for 2020 comedy. I'm like, 2020 comedy? This is what we're doing? Are you sure? And then they all tried it in their sets and would look at me like, you're not even going to laugh? And I was like, of course I'm not going to laugh.
This is the thing for 2020.
2020.
We know what's going on. We got our finger on the pulse, and it's homophobic comedy, apparently.
Yeah, we're going to bring it. I don't even know if it's back. It's just always been here.
Dude, and so what I like though with the show, you are bringing it's like you sent the message out into the universe and you just attracted the right people to you.
Yeah, and it is a blast. We have a lot of fun. It's also like sometimes comedians come on and they're like, oh, we're afraid this isn't nice. And we're like, nice and nice things is like there's a wide area for that. It's not like you have to be like squeaky clean or whatever.
It's
just like
no cheap shots, no homophobic slurs.
No homophobic slurs.
Or for any reason, let alone because you think that's finger on the pulse in 2020.
Yeah, just don't be mean to people who already have hard times.
Yeah.
Like, be mean to, capitalists because they suck.
Yeah. I think a Bernie bro is here. Do I have a Bernie bro?
I am... No, I don't know.
But you're not a Bloomberg or a Trump.
I'm not a Bloomberg or a Trumper. I have this very, like... I have a number of group chats with different family members where like the majority are Sanders people. So me and my sister will be like, yeah, Sanders. But then separately we'll be like, but we also love Warren.
Yeah.
And we don't see why we have to be mean to one of them.
Yeah, whoever becomes the nominee. And I think that could be why Warren is holding her fire a little bit. Because, secretly she thinks she's going to get it.
Right.
And then she could just take Sanders fans. But your online handle, is it Zach Lennon-Simon or no? Like, where can they find you on Twitter and all that?
Twitter.
I know I follow you.
Twitter is Zach Lennon-Simon.
Okay.
Zach spelled with an H. Sorry again, fans of alternate spellings of Zach. You lost me. But yeah, I love Warren. I love Sanders. I don't know.
Yeah, well, what we're going to talk about today is the fact that none of that will matter because there's going to be alien abductions. And this is one of the possible topics that you floated, and I was like, hell yeah. I mean, he had a bunch of topics, let me be fair. But I just thought it was so cool because we haven't talked about that on here. And so who are the aliens? Are we the aliens, and are we the ones who are going to abduct people on other planets? Or do you think that there is an advanced race out there, and do they give a shit about us, and do they mean us good or evil?
I mean, I definitely think it is such a centrist view of like, or self-centered view, I guess, for Earth to be like, those are the aliens. But when the aliens come here, we're like, it's all perspective taking. Like, we are for sure alien to something.
Yeah. And we're pretty advanced, I would think, that, and we're already like visiting other planets, etc.
Yeah, we've gone to the moon a bunch of times. Although I think the first time was faked.
Okay. Good.
Those shadows do not add up.
Okay.
That was a high school Zach opinion I still hold on to.
I love that. So did high school Zach believe in alien abduction?
Oh, yeah.
And where did he get that belief? From Fringe TV? Or old-time radio shows?
Old-time radio shows started my interest.
Okay.
Because there was, a number of, like, science fiction. I did not have a lot of friends. I didn't have a lot of friends.
Let me think of the word.
What is
friends.
the friend? I never had to use it. I didn't have a lot of friends in middle school or high school, and I also didn't hang out outside of the house because I grew up in Brooklyn.
Oh, okay.
And my fourth day in middle school was when the Twin Towers were attacked. So my parents kind of switched their whole parenting style from let's give you everything you want to be like, we're gonna keep you alive.
Oh,
and,
wow.
and that was probably really hard for them. But I spent a lot of time indoors instead of going out because they're it could be in our mailbox, the next terror attack.
And I guess when you're in New York City, they could have been like, yeah, dude, we were about to go visit downtown Manhattan that day.
Yeah, but traffic. The terrorists were thwarted by traffic.
But that's funny that you actually had parents who had a practical reason to kind of keep you out of it, but that affected you going out, so you went out less and you got into things like science fiction.
Yeah, I stayed inside a lot more, and also we didn't have cable until after the Twin Towers were attacked, and then we're like, well, we need
because we'll be inside all the time. We need to
that's
cable.
A good point. I didn't think we
need to watch the news.
The antenna was the World Trade Center for our local channels.
No shit.
So when that was knocked out, the day of, it was squiggles. It was squiggles and radio.
I had no fucking clue, and so then you had to get cable in order to have channels. Period.
To know what was going on.
Wow, and they have a new channel now. It's not atop the replacement tower, is it?
No,
okay.
No.
I love it. It's called the replacement tower, by the way. It's not the Freedom Tower. It's the replacement tower. But and so you kind of stayed in and you watched. Did the cable help with that because they had some channels that were showing you more science fiction than you had seen before?
Yeah, they had the what did they call it before sci-fi? I think it was just the science fiction channel.
Okay.
And I watched a lot of that, a lot of TV Land, but also we didn't get, my mom's a developmental psychologist, so she knew what our brains needed and didn't need, and top on that list was not hours of TV.
Yeah.
So she really encouraged us to read a lot, which got me into reading a lot of War of the Worlds or Young Merlin books. And then also these old time radio shows that I found that were awesome. Have you listened to a lot of those?
No, but how did she do that? At the library, did they have old CDs of these things, compilations?
I don't actually know how it could have been her, it could have been my dad. You know what it was? I think it started with, I loved as a kid and still now watching old movies from the 40s and stuff. And back then when they would try to get, this is a weird marketing ploy, but when they would try to get you to go to the movie, they would play an adapted version of the movie on the radio. And
cool.
The actors would come in and do a new version.
Oh, cool.
And we're if you love the radio 30-minute version, come see an hour and a half
That's amazing.
at a cinema.
The real actors did that?
Yeah, Humphrey Bogart and Katharine Hepburn, they would stop by and be I'm going to do the movie, but briefer.
That's cool.
And more auditory.
That's cool.
And so I would watch these movies, and then they'd be do you want to hear this Lux Radio Presents?
I
and
do.
It's awesome. They're really good. Some of them are better than the movie.
Because they abridged it. They took all the shit out.
And they have better lines. I heard this one film noir one called This Gun for Hire with Alan Ladd and I want to say Veronica Lake.
Okay. Veronica, sure.
Yeah.
Shaking my head. Sure, yeah, Veronica
Love
Lake.
Veronica.
The best lake. Yeah.
But I heard that before I saw the movie, and there's a line in it that I was like, this is awesome. This is the coolest thing, clearly, of all time. Where this guy, like this henchman, is like taking away Veronica Lake, and Alan Ladd shows up in the shadows. He's like, oh my God, I'm blanking on the line. This is a terrible story anecdote. No, he's like, the guy's whistling in the house. He's like, it's bad luck to whistle in the house.
Oh,
and the guy turns around and is like, who are you? He's like, I just told you. Bad luck. Pow, 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 pow. And he kills him. And I was like, that is the coolest.
Was that also in the movie then?
No, I watched the movie and I was ready for that line, and he just kills him like saying nothing. He just shoots him, and he's like, you're dead now.
The radio version's better.
The radio was superior. So I got a lot of, fun and enjoyment out of radio shows. And then like, radio shows were crazy back then. They had like wild science fiction shows and like suspense and thriller stuff like Suspense.
Do you think you got anything out of that kind of turned into stand-up for you?
Yeah.
Hearing somebody paint a picture, are you trying to do that on stage at all?
Yeah, I definitely think my like knowledge base is on like these theatrical concepts. Or like taking like those like Suspense or Escape or the I think it's the 13th Key. They would take like these pretty practical things of like, a hitchhiker. Okay. They're like, this guy's trying to hitch a ride.
Nothing per se wrong about a hitchhiker.
And then they would just build it crazier, and you're like, that was insane. I did not expect that.
And can you do that on stage?
Sometimes, yeah.
I would think that anybody can, but it would take some real work to make sure. It's like, I really want to build a character from scratch here.
Yeah. I think it, at least for me, it's not that hard for my brain to leap.
Good.
What is hard is to help the audience keep up. So like I'm working on a story or a bit or something about my stay at this hotel in San Francisco.
Okay.
And as soon as I got there, I was like, this place is haunted. Like I felt it in my bones, and I was like, this is not good. I gotta go.
Oh, that's cool. And so you start kind of giving the things that happen along the way to get you, to confirm in your mind that yes, this place is indeed haunted.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool.
I was doing like the legwork while I was there of like, A, try to confirm it's haunted. B, book a new hotel. I think I am not going to be the titular hero of a horror movie, or the one who dies. Yeah. Where like in the first act he gets like 4 clues, and it's like, nah, I think I'm going to stay. And the audience is like, you gotta go.
I love that too, because you're like, well, I tried to book, naturally, because I don't want to be the hero, the dead hero. Yeah. But it was all booked. So I had to, I keep, in trying to book it, alternate lodging. Mm-hmm. I kept, I had to keep finding these clues and find out that, I'm about to be, chopped liver.
Yeah, I did it a day, and then I switched hotels.
Oh, cool. But did that kind of story made its way on stage? And how do you kind of keep the audience? You were saying the hard part is keeping the audience kind of invested in it. How do you do that?
I think it's purely detail.
Okay.
It's like very small, granular detail. Like if I just say the hotel is haunted, that's sell
not
it.
Enough, right? Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't sell it as much as like, I'm trying to say like when I got off the elevator, there was a very long hallway. I did not know how long, but I also knew there was no sound besides me.
Oh, good.
Which is not, I think, typical of a house structure.
Yeah.
Also, when I got in the elevator, it always would go to the basement first, even if I didn't press it. And when I say like we would go to the basement, then like people's like horror clues kick in where they're like, ooh, basements aren't good.
And only going to the basement is fucked. That's
only going to the basement is fucked. And then you can go wherever you want if you can survive.
Yeah. But then how do you get out of that story into another story? You probably have distinct stories that all, are set pieces. How do you transition? So you had us in a really spooky space and we were laughing and stuff like that, but your next bit is not set in a San Francisco haunted hotel.
No. I don't know. I haven't fully massaged that hotel bit in yet to anywhere, but I think there's a lot to be gained for just like setting something up and then just wildly changing.
Yeah.
Like back to the radio shows, it always would make me laugh when like they would leave you at this cliffhanger of like, oh, the door has opened and the monster has escaped and is bearing down on Agnes Moorehead. We'll be right back. Yeah. But thank you, Roma Wines. Made in the U.S. for enjoyment around the world.
Did that stuff come up? Like, I know Serial was a big thing, and I guess that was a podcast thing.
Yeah, Serial.
Did it have jarring ads like that?
I don't think Serial did, because, Serial was better because they had that, like, plinky instrumental, right? Sure. The, like, ding, ding, dong, dong, whatever it was. So they would, like, leave you with a note of, like, ooh, and then they would play that music long enough for you to catch your breath. Oh. And then they would be like, This episode is brought to you by HelloFresh.
Well, that's so funny. Now, kind of what are you talking about? Any of these sorts of things? It sounds like the developmental psychologist that was your mother. She turned you on to radio, which then helped you kind of have these, interesting ways to build characters, on stage. What else did she kind of do that ended up in the person you are and the comic you are?
I mean, I think my mom, she really honed in and focused on this, perspective taking.
Okay.
Which on and off stage, I think is a good skill to.
Is that like empathy, where you're like, let me put myself in this other person's shoes?
Yeah, okay. Like it would be annoying, I guess. Definitely as a kid, it would be annoying in the moment where I'd come home and I'd be like, this kid was bullying me today, and it was really annoying, and I'm pretty upset. And then she'd be like, I'm so sorry to hear that. Why do you think he was bullying you? And I'd be like, I don't care.
I don't know.
He hurt me.
He's a bully, Mom.
Yeah, he's just rude. She's like, well, why do you think he's rude?
Yeah.
And then I'd be like, I don't know. And she'd be like, well, do you know his parents are getting divorced? Like, do you know what that would do to someone? Like, he's probably like trying to make a friend but doesn't know how. And I'd be like, fuck, fine.
It's like, what do you want me to do, Mom? Like, go befriend, so about your divorced parents. Yeah. It's like bringing up the divorced parents to the bully is not going to lead to less bullying. It's going to lead to more.
Right. Well, it turned out that instead of like me being like, God, this guy's a jerk, I then was like, all right, like I found a way to like not weaponize, but definitely like use empathy or sympathy against bullies. Like, well, they're gonna bully me, and I'd be like, hey guys, I get it, but how are you? And then that would catch them off guard, and they'd be like, well, screw you, man, and they run away, and I'd be like, wow, that was.
I love that. It's like
weaponized sympathy.
Yeah, they're ready to use their fists, but not their words or something, and so that helped you on stage because you're able to, I guess, in writing, you have a little bit, and they're like, okay, who is in this play, this play of characters, and what different angles can I attack the same joke from?
Exactly. Yeah, and you can really take. I don't know. I think like perspective taking and metacognitive thinking, those skills are fantastic for comedians and also just to be healthier people.
Good. And that's the kind of people we're going to see at Very Nice People Saying Very Nice
Very
things.
Nice People Saying Very Nice Things.
And that's a monthly show at QED?
It's the fourth Thursday of every month. We just did
so that this last Thursday, and there's one coming up at the end of March.
March.
Okay. And then you and Jonathan Apple?
Jonathan Appel, yeah.
Appel, okay. And then who else? Do we know who's going to be on the March one? Not yet.
Oh gosh,
it's going to be a very nice person saying a very nice
nice person. Jonathan will know. He's fantastic at booking.
But then they'll also be able to find it via Zach Lennon-Simon on Twitter, etc.
Yeah, I'm on Twitter. Okay. I tweet about musicals and old-time things.
And alien abductions, which we totally covered it. They exist. They're about to happen. Don't vote. It's not going to matter.
Do you believe they exist? You believe aliens exist, right? Or no?
We could be the aliens, but yeah, who the fuck knows? And do they give a shit about us? It's like, like the microbes on Mars or whatever, they probably thought that Land Rover thing was probably the alien. It's like it was us controlling it. So, I mean, we could be the aliens. But yeah, I mean, you're right.
That's a good point.
But also just galaxies. I mean, there's just we're in the Milky Way, and there's probably there's many other galaxies.
Yeah.
I was taught. Yeah. I don't really even know enough, but I think I know that I don't know anything, and so I'm sure that beyond my reasoning, there's probably aliens about to. But yeah, do they give a shit? Are they going to abduct us, or are they just going to destroy the planet, or just like why would they even abduct? Why wouldn't they just be like, okay, you're all dead.
Right.
Here's my little sonic weapon. You guys are all dead, and I'm going to drill for oil. And who the fuck knows if they run on oil now? Who the fuck knows?
I mean, fingers crossed, they also can use perspective taking. Yeah. Like, if they show up and they're like, why are these people shooting at us? Oh, because their life sucks. They were raised in fear.
Let me just talk to them. Let me figure it out.
Let me first get my universal translator out.
Oh, I love that.
But that's a really good point. The Mars rover, if there are hidden Martians under the ice, the Mars rover is totally like their plateau or something from Day the Earth Stood Still, where they're like, he's not responding. What's going on? What is this? Why is he just singing that one song they programmed him to sing so he's not lonely?
But the perspective taking is what they're going to get when they see Zach Lennon-Simon on stage. And do you take a spot on each of these shows that you do at QED?
So, no, but like Jonathan and I, we talk a lot in between, and we get into like weird conversations. I think like this last show we talked about how amazing it is his mom is finally proud of his comedy, and it was heartwarming to hear. Like, it's been such a long thing of like him making jokes about his mom being like him being like, Mom, do you think I'm funny? And he has this great deadpan. I can't do it as well, but she just goes, no. And then his dad's like, funny looking. And it's like funny, but also like, I'm a little sad. And my mom is also like, I think his mom should like his comedy. And then last night he like finally said, she said I'm funny, and she said my comedy career can make it. And I was like,
love that.
That was and we like hugged, and the crowd clapped. And then the show before, we like talked about the continuity of the Fast and Furious movies.
Okay.
So like I don't do a hard set, but it is like a windy conversation that
it
is
sounds
fun.
like they have to see it, because only at very nice people saying very nice things would they see two people hugging because one person's mother is finally proud. Zach, Lennon-Simon, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.